On Global TV News Express, fire cuts head of head service building. In business, Nigerian Port Authority honors women's roles in equitable future. On the foreign scene, Pope warns of regional spillover of US-Israel-Iran conflicts. In sports, Eyimba drops into relegation zone after 2-1 loss to Warri Wolves. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Annie T. Patrick. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. A session of the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation has been gutted by fire this morning. Although the cause of the fire could not be immediately ascertained, sources say it may not be connected with a power surge. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and First Lady Oluremi Tinubu have paid glowing tribute to Nigerian women. They celebrated their resilience and contributions to national development as the country joined the global community to mark the 2026 International Women's Day. President Tinubu used the occasion to reaffirm the federal government's commitment to policies and initiatives aimed at expanding opportunities for women and girls, particularly in education, economic empowerment, and leadership. As the world marks International Women's Day, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has reaffirmed his commitment to promoting gender equality and greater inclusion of women in Nigeria's political and governance process. In a statement congratulating Nigerian women, the Speaker described women as critical stakeholders in national development, noting their growing impact across academic, economic, political, and professional spheres. He emphasized that women have continued to break barriers and achieve remarkable milestones in different fields of human endeavor. The Speaker also called for broad support for the proposed reserved seats bill currently under consideration by the National Assembly of Nigeria as part of the ongoing review of the Constitution of Nigeria 1999, stressing that gender balance, equality, and inclusion remain vital for effective national development. Women participation in politics of Nigeria, especially with regards to elective positions, has continued to generate concerns. Statistics show that elective and appointed positions of women is approximately 6.7%, which is far below the 22.5% global average. As Nigeria joins the global world in celebrating the International Women's Day, Global Television correspondent Zarau Nasir examines the situation and files in this report.
Women in Nigeria's political arena face a lot of challenges, ranging from cultural beliefs, financial constraints, to lack of support structure within political parties. A politician and social impact advocate, Zainab Buba Galadima, highlights some of the challenges women face while in politics and the way out.
Well, there are a couple. Number one, it's the financial restrictions that women have, especially when they're running for office. Number two, cultural and religious barriers. Number three, lack of mentorship. So these are just the three that I want to talk about. Because when you're running, for example, for an office, there are some monies that you need to spend when it comes to logistics and other things that will help you with your ambition. So a lot of women tend to step back because they're not financially buoyant, and it costs a lot. It's very capital intensive.
Zainab Galadima also advised women to be courageous in pursuing their political career and come up with what adds value with determination.
Yes, they need to have that courage. They need to believe in themselves, and they need to come with something that adds value. Because you can't just come out for coming out sake or join something without having to add value. It will be completely pointless. So I believe that they can be whatever they want to be with determination and courage, because politics or life in general is not just something that is not for the lily-minded. So you have to, be courageous in whatever you do.
Stakeholders say women in politics should build strong, diverse networks and mentorships to navigate, overcome, and succeed in male-dominated environment. Zahra Unasir, reporting for Global TV.
Federal government has said reliable population data is critical for effective national planning, fair distribution of resources, and development of policies that address the real needs of Nigerians. The Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Bagudu, said this when he hosted the leadership of the National Population Commission at the weekend in Abuja. The NPC delegation, led by its chairman, Aminu Yusuf, comprised federal commissioners and senior officials who were at the ministry to strengthen cooperation between both institutions. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has remitted over 1.5 billion naira to computer-based test centers that participated in the 2026 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination registration exercise. The disclosure was contained in a bulletin released by the board and signed by its public communication advisor, Fabian Benjamin. JAMB said the payments represent the 700 naira registration fee collected on behalf of computer-based test centers from candidates during the UTME registration process. Troops fighting insurgency in the northeast have been urged to sustain pressure on terrorist groups as military operations continue in the region. This was contained in a press release shared on the official page of the Nigerian Army on March 8, 2026. According to the statement, the Army Chief gave the directive during an operational assessment visit to the headquarters Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai in Maiduguri, Borno State on March 7th. The Police Service Commission has denied allegations that senior police officers paid 5 million naira each to secure promotion to the rank of Assistant Commissioner of Police. In a statement issued in Abuja by its head of protocol and public affairs, Toti Kalu, the commission describes the claim as unfounded and a reckless attempt to tarnish the image of the commission and the Nigerian police force. The commission said the promotion of senior officers from Chief Superintendent of Police to Assistant Commissioner of Police followed due process and established guidelines. All is set for the screening of Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara's 9 commissioner nominees by the House of Assembly today. Speaker Martins Amowole has asked them to appear before the Assembly. On March 3rd, the Assembly disclosed that it received a list of 9 nominees from the governor and invited the beneficiaries to send their credentials for screening. Governor Monday Okpebholo of Edo State has settled the medical bills of a pregnant woman and her husband who are currently receiving treatments for severe burns following a fire incident in Ekpoma. This was disclosed in a statement signed by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Patrick Egbojele. It was stated that the governor made the intervention during a visit to the Irua Specialist Teaching Hospital, where he also paid the medical expenses of several other patients admitted in different wards of the hospital. Adamawa State Governor Amadu Fintiri has imposed a curfew on Lamunde local government area to curtail the deadly escalating communal crisis in the area. For the 4th time in less than 6 months, the governor is imposing a curfew due to the ongoing conflicts between the Chobo and Bachaman communities. In a press statement issued on Sunday night, the Chief Press Secretary said Adamawa State Governor Amadu Fintiri has imposed a 24-hour curfew on Lamunde local government area with immediate effect. The Court of Appeal has upheld the decision of the Federal High Court stopping the People's Democratic Party (PDP) National Convention. The Appellate Court on Monday dismissed the appeal brought before it by the Tanimu Turaki-led faction of the party. The Turaki-led National Working Committee, which is laying claim to the leadership of the opposition party, was elected at the Ibadan Convention. Kebbi state government has cautioned religious leaders in the state against delivering sermons capable of inciting the public against the administration of Governor Nasir Idris. The government said the present administration has made notable contributions to the development of Islam and religious institutions in the state. It stressed that claims suggesting otherwise were misleading and a deliberate attempt to distort facts and provoke public resentment. The Commissioner for Religious Affairs, Mohammed Aliu, issued the warning during a press briefing in Birin, Kebbi. As this year's Ramadan fast enters the final lap, Muslims have been advised to redouble efforts in prayers and other acts of worship. This is because of the belief that the last 10 days, if well observed, warrants freedom from hellfire. In these reports, Global Television correspondent Shehu Said examines the significance of the last 10 days of Ramadan.
The last 10 days of Ramadan is considered the most rewarding in terms of acts of worship and charity. It is the period which attracts the Night of Majesty. What is the Night of Majesty? Imam of the National Mosque, Sheikh Muhammad Kabir, provides an answer.
Bismillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Rasulillah. The Night of Majesty, the Quranic language call it Laylatul Qadr. That is the Night of Majesty. Night of Majesty is the night in which Allah in His infinite mercy revealed the Holy Quran from the Book of Destiny, that is Lawhul Mahfuz, to a place in the space. We call it Baytul Izzah. In that Night of Majesty is very, very important to the life of Muslims, because whoever did any righteousness, be it prayer, supplication, or giving out something to help others, whatever kind of kindness, will be double like that of 1,000 month. One night is equivalent to 1,000 month. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran. He says, Laylatul Qadri khayrun min alfi shahr. The Night of Majesty is better than 1,000 months. Another verse of the Quran says, Fiha yufraqu kullu amrin hakim. In that Night of Majesty, Allah in His infinite mercy used to make budget or plan for the year that is ahead. That is from this Ramadan to the next one. So the budget or plan of the year will take place on that very night.
Which acts of worship are more encouraged from Muslims within this period?
This last 10 days is a night in which everybody is encouraged to rise up to wake up in the night, offer special prayers. We call it tahajjud. It is very, very encouraging.
As the Ramadan fast draws near to an end, Muslims should take advantage of this period to be closer to Allah in order to achieve good in this world and in the hereafter. Shehu Said, reporting for Global Television News.
You're watching the live broadcast of News Express. News Express continues after this weather forecast, plus business, foreign, and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
Hello and welcome to your weather update. There is some welcome relief across much of the northern part of the country as the recent dust episodes begin to ease. The atmosphere is now much clearer and fresher, bringing improved visibility and better air quality across much of the region. However, while the sky remains largely sunny in the north, temperatures are gradually climbing, especially during the afternoon hours. So residents should still expect a fair amount of heat and thermal discomfort through the day. Moving towards the north-central part of the country, it will be largely sunny, although cloud development is gradually increasing, especially around Kogi, Kwara, and parts of Benue State. Meanwhile, parts of the inland cities of the south, including the stretch of the coastal belt, is experiencing isolated thunderstorms during the late afternoon and evening hours. states such as Osun, Ondo, some parts of Edo, Delta, Ogun, Cross River, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, and Bayelsa states. So while clearer air is returning to the northern region, keep an eye out for developing clouds and possible thunderstorms further south. And that's your weather update. Stay weather aware. Thank you for watching.
It's good to have you back on News Express. In business, African Development Bank Group has unveiled a continent-wide aviation financing platform aimed at unlocking large-scale investment in Africa's fastest-growing air transport market and turning rising passenger demand into sustainable airline profits. The initiative, known as the Integrated Aviation Transformation Program, was presented at the Airlines Capital and Connectivity Forum held in Nairobi, Kenya, where regulators, airline executives, and investors examine how to mobilize long-term capital for the sector. Africa is expected to become the world's fastest-growing aviation market over the next 2 decades, driven by rapid urbanization, a rising middle class, and a youthful population. Industry forecast indicates that 1 in 4 new global air travelers could originate from the continent within that period. Nigerian Port Authority has celebrated the resilience, dedication, and invaluable contributions of women in the maritime sector, including firefighting, security piloting, engineering, hydrography, administrative and maritime support services, such as aids to navigation. These remarkable women are excelling even in roles that traditionally demand male kind of strength. Managing Director, Nigerian Port Authority, Dr. Abubakar Dantoso, noted that he deliberately prioritized gender equality in key appointments, starting with his aides and technical assistants. And on the foreign scene, the head of the Catholic Church, Pope Leo XVI, has expressed deep concern over the escalating conflict involving Iran, warning that the violence could spread further across the Middle East and urging an immediate halt to hostilities. Speaking during the traditional Angelus prayers at St. Peter's Square, the pontiff said disturbing reports continue to emerge from Iran and the wider region as fighting entered its 9th day following the United States-Israeli assault on Iranian targets. The Pope cautioned that the ongoing conflict was fueling fear and hatred and risks drawing in more countries, including Lebanon, which he said could once face instability. Well, 9 days after U.S.-Israeli strikes killed Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and plunged the Middle East into war, Iranian clerics have picked the country's third supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Zaraul Nasir completes the reports.
Khamenei's appointment was announced on Iranian state television, with the presenters solemnly reading a statement from the 88-member Assembly of Experts next to a picture of the new 56-year-old leader.
به خبر بسیار مهم انتخاب رهبر معظم انقلاب اسلامی
Israel has launched a new wave of strikes, this time targeting infrastructure in Iran, as the expanding war sent stocks plunging and crude prices surging 30% on supply disruption fears. Saudi Arabia intercepted drones headed for an eastern oil field, while the United Arab Emirates and Kuwait reported missile attacks, and Bahrain said sirens were activated. The war came weeks after Iranian security forces crushed nationwide protests against the government, killing thousands. The younger Khamenei is considered a fearless hardliner who will pursue his father's rejection of dissent. U.S. President Donald Trump has previously dismissed the Mojtaba Khamenei as a lightweight and insisted again Sunday that he should have a say in appointing a new leader. Zahra Unasir, reporting for Global TV.
Meanwhile, China said that Iran's decision to name Mojtaba Khamenei as its new supreme leader following the killing of his father was a domestic matter, adding that it opposed any attempt to target him. Israel's military has threatened to target any successor to former supreme leader Ali Khamenei, who was killed over a week ago in the first wave of U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran. China's foreign ministry spokesman told reporters on Monday that Iran's decision to appoint the younger Khamenei was based on its constitution. U.S. President Donald Trump has blamed Iran for a deadly strike on a school in the southern Iranian town of Minab, as tensions continue to rise amid the widening conflict in the Middle East. Speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One, Trump said early indications suggest the attack may have been carried out by Iranian forces themselves. Mukhtar Qasim tells us more.
The United States president made the remarks while responding to questions from journalists during a flight on Air Force One, where he addressed the growing regional crisis and the latest report of civilian casualties. Trump suggested that the strike that hit an elementary school in Minab may have been caused by Iranian munitions, describing Tehran's weapon system as inaccurate.
That was done by Iran. Because they're very inaccurate, as you know, with their munitions. They have no accuracy whatsoever. It was done by Iran.
Trump also commented on the broader conflict, warning against further escalation involving other armed groups in the region. He specifically said the Kurdish forces should not be drawn into the fighting, noting that expanding the number of actors involved could worsen the situation.
I don't want to see the Kurds get hurt, get killed. We've had a good relation. They're willing to go in, but I've told them I don't want them to go in.
The remarks comes as the Middle East conflict continues to escalate, with international observers warning that further military involvement by regional groups could widen the war and deepen humanitarian crisis. Mukhtar Qasim, reporting for Global Television News.
And in sports, former African and Nigerian champions Eyimba International Football Club has dropped into the dreaded relegation zone in the current Nigerian Premier Football League, NPFL, as they now occupy 17th position on the table. Eyimba was beaten 2-1 by Warri Wolves on Sunday during the week 29 of the ongoing campaign, leaving the Aba team with 33 points after winning 8 matches, drawing 9 encounters and losing 12 games. The People's Elephant has undergone several reforms in its coaching crew. And as Global TV News Express comes to an end, here's a recap of our top stories. A session of the office of the head of the Civil Service of the Federation has been gutted by fire this morning. In business, Nigeria Ports Authority has celebrated the resilience, dedication, and invaluable contributions of women in the maritime sector, including firefighting, security, piloting, engineering, hydrography, administrative, and maritime support services, such as aids to navigation. And on the foreign scene, we told you the head of the Catholic Church, Pope Leo XVI, has expressed deep concern over the escalating conflict involving Iran, warning that the violence could spread further across the Middle East and urging an immediate halt to hostility. And in sports, former African and Nigeria champions Eyimba International Football Club has dropped into the dreaded relegation zone in the current Nigerian Premier Football League as they now occupy 17th position on the table. And that's it on News Express. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. I am Annie T. Patrick. Thank you for watching.